This is the newest tent from Overlandish.
You don't even need a tent. Well, hello everyone and good morning. We got into this campsite really late last night, so we couldn't actually really see what was behind us, but we could hear the river. And this morning it's absolutely beautiful. We went for a swim. I'll put a clip a little bit later. But this was the first night using my new tent from Overland-ish, which is how I would consider myself. I'm very Overland-ish. I tend to lean more to the off-road side, but a tent like this makes it so that I don't have to sleep in the car. I can bring friends, family along and have lots of room. So the tent itself is amazing. It's one of these ones that easily collapses and opens. And yeah, it was just really nice to try that for the very first time last night. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna go find some trails. Might not be super hard. I have the Bronco with me, and kind of like that last video, I'm cleared a little better for rubbing, but I still haven't cut my fenders where they need to be cut. So I do rub a bit, so I just have to be careful how far I turn, but funny enough, if I'm a little bit straighter, I can flex it out and the back doesn't rub at all. So we're gonna go find some trails, maybe go do Racehorse Pass, and yeah, I hope you enjoy this video.
It's deep there.
Oh, it's really, really deep. Okay, and then there's the rock right here. Just wait. I'm starting off.
Oh. I got it before you.
Oh. Okay.
You know I'm your biggest competition.
What do I know? Okay, I think I beat it.
Okay, I'm good. Let's go to Blairmore.
Oh no! Hey guys, so just checking in again. Basically what's happened is we left the camping spot this morning. We went, for those of you who are from this area, we went into Blairmore, and then we had lunch there, we fueled up, and now what we're doing is we're going to Racehorse Pass. Down in the staging area it was crazy busy, and being a long weekend that's expected, but I've never seen anything like it. Like, people are essentially camping on top of each other. However, as we're heading northish maybe at the moment, I'm not quite sure, it's getting quieter and quieter, there's less people. So we're gonna go do Racehorse Pass. We're gonna camp up there as long as that spot's not taken, and then tomorrow morning the plan is we'll do a little bit of wheeling, or we might do it this evening. We'll see what time we get up there. But there is one difficult run up there, and what we're going to do is it's really gonna be 4Runner versus Bronco, and it should be quite interesting because this 4Runner, which is JTs, is on 35s. He swapped out the rear axle for a locked 8.2. So he's got, just one second. He's got a center locker and a rear locker, whereas the Bronco has the front, center, and rear, all three. So it's gonna be interesting. Also, the Bronco's on 37s, but the 4Runner has a bunch more armor to it. It has a lot more travel. It's got long travel in the rear, and the front, Jared does not run a sway bar. So it's gonna be very interesting to see the comparison between the two. And I mean, right now you can take your pick of which one you're gonna go for. I think we've each voted for our own vehicles because we're driving them, but we will find out tomorrow or potentially later today which one actually crawls up that part easier. Well, would you look at the view? This is probably my favorite part about this trail. I mean, we're not even that far in yet, and you're just right in the mountains. There's peaks up here, and then the trail does get a little bit narrow, so for people who are scared of heights and driving on narrow things, it might not be your favorite place to come. But the views, I mean, it's really, really hard to beat these. This is what a dedicated photographer does. It's hard to show how high that is. Well, here we are at the obstacle I was talking about before, and it is impossible to give a scale to the size of off-road obstacles. They tend to look very flat on film in comparison to real life, but to give you an idea, here's a rock. It's not even one of the big rocks. Like, that's a decent sized rock. So you can just imagine this looks like absolutely nothing next to this rock here. So basically, I don't want to drive the Bronco down this obstacle because, one, I have factory skid plates, and there is no gas tank skid plate on a wild track, which is crazy. I don't have rock sliders, so if I hit one of these with my rocker panel, I'd be very sad. Now, my rock sliders show up soon, but I just don't have them yet, so I don't want to push it. I will drive up it, but JT, of course, is going to drive up this or down this obstacle, and then he'll drive up it in his 4Runner. So I don't know if it's going to show how crazy this is on camera, but for those of you who are local or who have done it, you will know what it takes. Today when we're doing it, it's actually fairly dry. So last time we came here a couple years ago, it was wet and we were just spinning a lot because the dirt had turned into a bit of mud. So that made it harder. So we might just crawl up this easier than we expect, but this is going to be built up 4th gen 4Runner versus essentially stock Bronco on 37s. Okay guys, so here's kind of a close-up of this obstacle as I slide down the hill. I'll get out of JT's way here, but yeah, if you see these rocks, it's so hard to show the big dips and everything. So that was JT in the 4Runner. He made that look pretty easy. Of course, there's some loose rocks, so it spun at first, but he crawled up those rock ledges like nothing, which is a little bit concerning because I hope the Bronco doesn't embarrass me at all. Hopefully it has a similar performance. So if you watch King Media's video from when we came here a couple of years ago, we had his GX, my FJ back when it was on 35s, and JT's 4Runner back before it had a rear locker. At that point, it was just A-Track working around. His 4Runner took a bit of work to get it up this hill that time. This time, he was even pushing all the big rocks out of the way. So if you watch in my clip, there's a couple rocks that he flipped out of the way that I didn't have to deal with. That said, I'm very impressed with the Bronco. It literally, off-road, I say it feels very much like a tank. And for those of you who are FJ people and you're like, how does it feel compared to the FJ? FJ definitely feels more nimble. It does not have that front locker, which it still freaks me out a little bit hitting that front button. I'm like, am I gonna break something in the front end? But so far it's been absolutely fine, and it just really turns it into something that feels like it could crawl up a wall. But there are definitely advantages to the FJ, how it feels and how it drives versus this. I mean, it's shorter, it feels more nimble. 4-low feels like it's a bit more progressive, whereas with this and the turbos, it feels a little bit more jerky. But overall, very, very happy. Hopefully that video showed you a bit of what that climb was like. And if you were going to do Bronco versus 4Runner, you might look at the clips and say, oh, the Bronco won. It's not quite fair because some of those rocks were gone, that his front tires had to spin because of A-Track. And then I've got the front locker and 37s. However, you should all put in the comments down below, you should put JT, it's time to do 37s, because I think that 4Runner needs 37s. Well, good morning, everyone. It's a very beautiful morning. There's no pictures or video of it, unfortunately, but this morning when we woke up, the clouds were really low just over the mountains, and then we caught the last little bit of the sunrise, so it was really, really beautiful looking. Even right now, it was meant to rain, but currently we have some blue sky above us. The sun is peeking through the clouds a little bit. It's a bit chilly, but we're just gonna make some breakfast here. JT's actually cooking that back there in the background. Last night we had a fire. We did some wheeling. You'll have seen the kind of challenge that we did between the Bronco and the 4Runner. We met up with one other friend here who's from this area, and so he's just gonna show us another little loop before we head home. So there'll be a couple more wheeling clips probably after this. And then what we'll do is we'll just drive down to that staging area, air up, and probably end the video there. But yeah, if you're ever in this area or local to this area and you don't mind heights and you don't mind a little bit of a narrow shelf when you're driving, this is definitely a trail to check out for the views. It's just beautiful out here. And yeah, we've been blessed with pretty nice weather for it being September here, because up in the mountains it tends to get pretty chilly, but right now it's not too bad. So anyways, we'll have some breakfast and then we'll go wheel a little bit more. Hey Jared, how's breakfast coming?
Really good. We're gonna try putting the eggs in the bacon grease.
Mr. Chef. There we go, there's some bacon. To show you guys how easy kind of getting this tent down is, a lot of you will be like, oh, well, isn't it essentially like an ice fishing tent? And it's quite similar. It's designed so you can actually use it also as an ice fishing tent. But yeah, basically just collapsing all the walls and collapsing the ceiling, which I'll do that actually first. But yeah, it's very easy, and setting up it's the same thing. You just pull all the sides out. So we have a lot of fog rolling in for some reason, and I just want to get the tent away before it gets super humid, which it already is getting quite humid because we're being enveloped in a cloud. One thing about the Bronco that's interesting is the hood is very square, which is kind of nice. However, it's really hard to see over the hood. The other thing is the flares stick out a lot, and then my tires stick out past those flares. So one feature that's very nice that I have on my Bronco is this front camera. When you go into 4-low, it turns on. And for the most part, I don't look at it because I'm not used to looking at it. I rather look outside. But there will be obstacles I can't really see from the driver's seat, and I'll look at the camera, and then I'll know it's coming up. Especially like there's been some big rocks a couple times, and like I just can't see them over my hood. And if I lift this, which I'm going to soon, it's going to get even worse because it's going to sit even higher. But yeah, so the square hood, I like it a lot styling-wise, but I'm glad I have that camera because otherwise it's just harder to see than some other cars with a more sloped hood. Okay guys, so we're aired up. We're just about to go onto pavement. We'll just stop in Blairmore, head back to Calgary. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it'll be a little choppy because it's jumping between camping and wheeling. Those clips of the hill climb, hopefully they'll show. I'll look at the footage later. Hopefully they'll show how deep, how steep those parts are, because it was fun climbing it. We did it again today, and it was a little bit more loose today. And then also it was a little bit, I don't know how to explain it, but it was more loose, but also a little wetter. So the dirt was more at play, which we struggled a little bit more. If you want to see clips of that, you'll see them on Reels on our Instagram pages. But we still crawled up it, no problem. It just was a little bit more wheel spin. The Bronco is really proving itself. The front locker, it's really interesting wheeling with a front locker versus a traction control system. And so you'll see more videos of this as I build it. I will probably take a little bit of time to fully clearance it. And that's a very squeaky trailer going by. I'll probably take a bit more time to clearance it before you see it off-road again. But I can't wait to get some suspension modifications on here and just get a little bit more clearance for those tires so that I can fully turn and really bomb along some stuff. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.